There are moments in life when everything suddenly grows quiet. The usual noise, the constant chatter of thoughts, the expectations of others, the endless stream of social obligations fades away. In this silence, a profound clarity emerges. You begin to notice what has always been there but hidden beneath the bustle: your own mind, your own feelings, your own direction. Arthur Schopenhauer, the great German philosopher, described this state with striking precision. He wrote, "We consider ourselves free because we know our actions, but we do not know the reasons that govern them." Pause for a moment. Reflect. How often have you acted without truly understanding why? How many of your desires, impulses, and choices were genuinely your own? And how many were simply echoes of someone else's will, society, peers, even subtle pressures you didn't notice? The hidden force, the will. Schopenhauer believed that beneath every thought, desire, and impulse lies a deeper force he called the will. It is blind, persistent, and universal, driving us in ways we rarely recognize. While we like to think of ourselves as conscious decision makers, Schopenhauer argued that consciousness merely observes what the will has already set in motion. For instance, consider love and attraction. How often have you felt inexplicably drawn to someone, only to later question why? Schopenhauer reminded us that these impulses are not always spiritual or personal, they are biological, the interest of the species represented in the individual. In other words, love and desire are often strategies of nature, guiding us toward procreation and the passing of traits, rather than serving our individual happiness or peace. This realization can feel unsettling. Many of us believe we act from choice, yet a closer look reveals that so much of life is automatic, a response to the hidden force of the will. Silence reveals your true self. Being alone, truly alone, without distraction, entertainment, or the presence of others, creates the conditions to see this truth. In moments of quiet, you notice patterns previously masked by the constant noise of life. Small sensations, subtle thoughts, and the faint stirrings of real desire begin to emerge. Take an ordinary evening when no one else is around. No phone notifications, no music, no background chatter. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Boredom, anxiety, or a longing for distraction may arise. But if you persist for a few minutes, a rare clarity begins to emerge. You start seeing your habitual impulses for what they are. You notice how often your actions were not truly chosen but performed out of routine, fear, or social expectation. For example, you may realize that some relationships were maintained not for joy or growth, but out of obligation, habit, or the unconscious desire to fill a void. Desire is a source of suffering. Schopenhauer famously stated, "Desire always creates suffering." Our wants, impulses, and attachments pull us in countless directions, leaving us little space to breathe, reflect, or simply exist. When the grip of desire relaxes even for a moment, a strange freedom arises. You feel calm, unpressured, and free from compulsion. This is where the power of being single becomes apparent. Solitude offers you this rare freedom regularly. You no longer live as a participant in someone else's script or as a response to external expectations. Instead, you become the observer and author of your own life. The single life, a laboratory for self-discovery. Being single is not loneliness. It is an opportunity. It is the space where you can truly examine yourself, your values, your emotions, and your goals. It allows you to test your impulses, ask yourself hard questions, and rediscover the source of your true desires. For instance, when alone, you might ask, which choices were made out of habit rather than conscious thought? Which relationships drained energy rather than nurtured it? Which desires came from my own heart, and which were planted by society, culture, or biology? The answers are illuminating. The moment you stop reacting and start observing, you reclaim control over your energy. You can choose not to follow impulses that previously dictated your life. You can act from clarity rather than compulsion. Freedom begins when you stop pleasing others. Schopenhauer wrote, "Freedom begins where the need to please someone else's will end." This principle extends beyond romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family dynamics, and professional obligations as well. Many conflicts, anxieties, and pressures in life exist because we are trying to satisfy others' expectations, often unconsciously. By being single, you create the space to notice these patterns. You can evaluate where your energy is being spent and redirect it toward growth, creativity, and self-understanding. The result is inner freedom, a state in which you act not out of fear or habit, but out of conscious choice. Observing the will without obedience. The more you practice solitude, the more you begin to see desire for what it is, a signal to observe, not obey. You may feel attraction, yearning, or ambition, but these impulses no longer compel you blindly. You recognize the mechanism of desire and understand its purpose. For example, you may notice that after a breakup or emotional disappointment, there is a period of emptiness. In that emptiness, previously unnoticed freedom arises. You realize that you are not defined by your attachments, and your sense of self can exist independently of them. Solitude is strength. Many thinkers and creators have understood this truth intuitively. Solitude allows depth, reflection, and insight that are impossible in constant social engagement. In silence, the mind ceases to react and begins to observe, creating a space for original thought, innovation, and genuine understanding. Being single cultivates this strength. It teaches patience with your own mind, tolerance for your own company, and trust in your inner compass. You learn to act from strength, not from expectation. You stop measuring your worth based on others' opinions or reactions and begin to recognize your own intrinsic value. The practical benefits of being single. Being single is more than a philosophical stance. It has practical, life-changing consequences. Energy reclaimed. Time and attention no longer go toward managing someone else's emotions. You can focus fully on your personal growth, projects, or passions. Self-mastery. You develop the ability to act consciously rather than reactively. You notice which habits serve you and which drain you. Clarity of desire. Without external distractions, you learn to distinguish between true wants and impulses imposed by society, culture, or biology. Freedom of choice. You are no longer bound by scripts, expectations, or unconscious patterns. Every decision becomes an expression of your own will. Resilience and maturity. Solitude strengthens emotional independence. You learn to rely on yourself, fostering confidence and self-sufficiency. From silence to wholeness. Ultimately, Schopenhauer's philosophy shows that the greatest liberation comes not from external circumstances, but from the mastery of one's inner world. Being single is not a state of deprivation. It is a gateway to wholeness. In the quiet, you uncover the truth of your own mind. You stop following impulses and scripts that drain your energy. You gain the clarity to act consciously, to invest in growth, and to cultivate relationships that truly enhance your life. Freedom, according to Schopenhauer, begins when desire ceases to enslave. When you no longer seek validation in others or chase attachments, your energy returns to you. You can direct it toward projects, passions, and experiences that align with your authentic self. The moral: choose yourself first. The key insight is simple yet profound. Being single allows you to choose yourself, not as an option, but as the foundation of your life. It is a declaration of autonomy, a commitment to act from clarity, and a refusal to surrender to habitual impulses or external pressures. You become strong not because you are loved or understood, but because you belong fully to yourself. Solitude and singlehood are not voids. They are spaces of growth, energy, and self-mastery. Here, you reclaim your rhythm, your focus, and your ability to author your own story. In the end, being single is not a limitation. It is an opportunity. It is the rare chance to step away from the noise, observe the mechanisms of desire, and regain the energy, clarity, and freedom that society and attachment often obscure. Schopenhauer reminds us that thought liberates where desire enslaves. When you stop being a passive participant in the will of others, whether in love, friendship, or society, you begin to live consciously. You stop chasing what drains you and start cultivating what empowers you. Being single, then, is not about being alone. It is about belonging to yourself, and in that belonging lies the truest form of strength, independence, and fulfillment.